point of imposing $100 levy, I mean, the intention is that $100 might be a deterrence to our own people to stop them from going to the casinos. But statistics have shown that the levy has not proved effective because we've collected so much levies. So does that mean that this intention of deterring people from entering into the casinos in the first place has not been as effective as we expected it to be?
The $100 is a signal that this is an expenditure. It is not a means of making a living. Having said that, I will also say that the $100 will not deter an addict. To an addict, this is nothing. So let's not mistake the $100 as the cure-all for someone who's addicted. For someone who's addicted, we have to identify them, or the family needs to identify the person. If their habit has reached a situation where it makes them bankrupt, or it is damaging the family's livelihood, action needs to be taken. That's why we have the exclusion order system, which the National Council of Problem Gambling sits and deliberates on. So if a family member thinks that the breadwinner, or sometimes it's the spouse, or usually sometimes even a son, unfortunately men seem with higher risk in that sense, they can file for a family exclusion order. The council will listen to all the arguments, both from the person who is the possible addict and the family members, and make a reasonable, sensible decision.
So my question is, we want to anticipate, what if, while we create 30,000 jobs, at the same time we would bring about maybe 30,000 families or more that's at risk of this being dysfunctional, brought about by problem gambling and so on. So that's my question. Thank you.
Before you answer, my own view is a practical one. Assuming Singaporeans had never gambled before, Toto, of course, we can expect it. That means they did not go to Batam. They did not go to Genting Highlands. They did not go on cruise ships to nowhere to gamble. Then I'll be very reluctant to start a casino. Because you're introducing something into Singapore and getting them to form a habit of gambling. But we knew from data available that many Singaporeans were rushing like zombies every weekend. Just onto a ferry to Batam, onto the ship. Your friend can be by your side, you never acknowledge. You just go straight to the table and you gamble. See? So we therefore start on a practical basis. There are such people. And of course, our concern will be, by having casinos over here, do you then bring in more people? And I say yes, unfortunately. More people would go to gamble. But the more people do not mean necessarily more addicts. Because the addicts are there, they are going to gamble anyway. Of course, a small percentage may become addicted and so on. So we are aware of that. We've got to weigh the social costs against the benefits. And at that point of time, we have always asked ourselves, in future, where do we go, new sectors to make a living for ourselves? Can you just go into manufacturing all the time, knowing that other countries are competing with you? You need tourism. You go into tourism. Where are the new attractions for Singapore? Then we decided that a casino must be a small component, physically, space-wise, in the whole resort. So we came up with the idea of integrated resorts. It's now a new term. Everybody wants integrated resorts. Nobody wants casinos. So the president of the Philippines is here. He's studying our model. So when he goes back, I'm sure he's going to have integrated resorts in many of his islands, just to attract tourists into those islands, into Philippines. Just casino itself is a no-go for, I would say, particularly all countries. So you balance that, and we find that we have to take a calculated risk in this aspect, knowing full well that there will be social problems, but at the same time, you start to move now to minimize the social problem. This is where the minister has set up the council and so on, and it's very strict about that, to try and minimize that problem. So my own view is, it's an issue where we're going to weigh everything, and many of us decided to take a practical view. But that doesn't mean we ignore the social problems. question is how to minimize that, how to prevent it totally from arising if you can.